Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Greg Nibbler here with Fox 12 Now. Thanks for joining us wherever you're watching. We do appreciate it. Remember where that is, because that is where you can always find us every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific, covering a lot of different topics. And today we're talking about something that has been, well, in the news for a while. It relates to so many different things that are going on, and we're talking about the drug crisis, in part combined with everything else that's happening in Portland. And particularly, we're discussing what has been called the open-air drug market at Washington, at the Washington corner there, downtown. We're going to be talking about that. We've got Connor McCarthy, who's going to be joining us to cover that, give us the update on what's been going on there, because there have been some updates. I'm going to play something that actually aired yesterday, one of his packages discussing some of that update, and then we're going to go back and kind of retrace the steps of what has happened, what's going on now, maybe what's going on in the future. So let's go ahead and watch this now so we're all on the same page.
Well, earlier this week, Menashe Properties, the company that owns the abandoned Washington Center in downtown Portland, placed up a wall of plywood in front of the building's largest overhang to keep people away from that plaza. Now, people that I spoke to who live and work in the area say that the initial set of plywood put up to secure the building did stop drug use and drug dealing at the property, but all of that just really moved to surrounding streets. It's been more than a month since the open-air drug market at the abandoned Washington Center building was cleared out and boarded up.
Open drug use still happens, but the more boards up, the less they have of places to actually do it.
Delana Quinn works security around Southwest Washington and Fifth Avenues. She knows the boards aren't a permanent solution, but it keeps the open-air drug market from popping back up.
It has helped tremendously. We're definitely not utilizing as much Narcan.
This week, Menashe Properties put up this new plywood to create a wall of wood in front of the building's largest overhang. This photo shows you what was happening in the plaza under it before this week. I took this photo about 2 weeks after the initial set of plywood went up. You can see people loitering at night in the plaza, many dealing and doing drugs. Quinn says she welcomes more deterrence to keep people from gathering in one spot.
Bless. Bless. If the craziness outside, it'll trail into all these buildings. I mean, all these buildings are getting windows broken out, like it's crazy. So it's definitely, I feel like it'll decrease some of the crime.
Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler sent Fox 12 a statement about the property owner's continued effort to try to put an end to this problem. He said in part, quote, "My expectation is for efforts to continue in the weeks ahead, which includes working to address loitering. I look forward to the demolition or resale of this property to allow downtown to move forward."
They have less of a place to hide, meaning they have less of a place to do what they want to do.
I did reach out to Menashe Properties for a comment. I did ask them if they plan on demolishing or selling the building like you heard in the mayor's statement, but I didn't hear back. In Southwest Portland, Connor McCarthy, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, we're joined now by Connor McCarthy to talk about this, and I misspoke earlier. I said Washington corner, Washington Center downtown, which this has really been the site of a lot of the images that I think people see from downtown of that open air, drug use comes from right around that section. Not that it's not happening other places, but Connor, can you kind of walk us back a little bit and give us just the history of how this has all been evolving?
Well, as long as I lived in Portland, that area of downtown, Southwest Fifth Avenue, Washington, and that whole block surrounding the Washington Center, has just had open air drug use, people blatantly using drugs and dealing drugs there. And it wasn't until the beginning of April that news organizations really started to focus their attention on this and telling stories of not only the people that are in that open air drug market, but also the affected businesses. And the city did take action. They convinced the property owner, Menashe Properties, to board up the property and allow Portland police go through and clear everything out. And that happened about mid-April. But I was covering the day that, covering the story the day the city started putting up the boards, the crew started putting up the boards. And what struck my mind was, okay, well, no one can get inside, but there's all these open air plazas, these overhangs that people can sit and just continue their drug use. And like you saw in that photo, I just happened to be leaving a movie from Pioneer Square. We had to go down that road, and I just was shocked to see how many people were still doing drugs, dealing drugs in that plaza along Southwest Fifth Avenue. And this week, that's when the city really convinced Menachie Properties to really board up any area people can loiter.
Just on personal experience, I was actually down there too. This is probably about a month or so ago, just before maybe they had boarded up everything. And yeah, I have pictures I should have grabbed of just, it was shocking actually in a way, of just how blatant, the drug dealing and doing drugs right there, and hard stuff that was going on. So what was it that, I guess they tried to convince this property to take care of that before, but what was the holdup for them boarding this up previously? Do you know?
I've asked Menachie Properties, I've reached out to them multiple times, trying to get comment, trying to answer my questions, like if they're going to demolish the building or if they're going to try to sell it to someone. But they've been pretty tight-lipped. They haven't really said much besides shoot us an email, we'll answer your questions. I do that every time. I don't hear anything back. But it's probably because of all the media attention on that one block of downtown, telling these stories of businesses saying, we witness people overdosing almost on the hour. We're witnessing drug deals happening, every half hour, for example. And, Portland police just weren't doing much. But, these boards, they're not a solution to a lot of people. I mean, it's obvious when you walk back downtown now, the drug use, the drug dealing has just dispersed around the streets in that core of this city. Businesses I talk to say they're not concentrated here at Washington Center, like you heard from that security guard, but now there's little pockets all over the place. And you can see it. There's little pockets on Southwest 4th, on 5th, up on Harvey Milk Boulevard. It just spread the problem out.
And that's, got to be frustrating to everybody else down there. I mean, I don't know which is worse, whether it's concentrated in one area or spread out all over the place, so everybody's kind of got something going on with it. What has the Portland Police response been as far as why they didn't do something before and why they're not, or it certainly doesn't seem like they're tackling this issue now?
Well, there's, a lot of structural issues right now. We have Measure 110 in place. That's keeping the police from doing what they would have done, let's say 5-6 years ago. But also it's just the pressures of what's going on around Portland. And there's a lot bigger fish to fry at the moment for Portland police. They've had to deal with staffing issues. So there's a lot that is going on right now with Portland police that it is difficult for them to, tackle the drug dealers and get them arrested for trying to disperse people from doing drugs. It's a very complicated issue. Portland police did have 24-hour surveillance and patrolling back in the middle of April before the boards went up and before they cleared out the Washington Center. But when I was down there, I didn't really see many police officers kind of around the Washington Center. So it's a very complicated issue at the moment of trying to patrol the area, making sure people aren't getting hands on this fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl being one of the biggest things that's driving so much that's going on down there, which is entirely, there's a lot to cover on that alone, just the fentanyl side of things. Anything else that you think people should know about going down there, something that you haven't been able to share in previous packages and news updates?
Yeah, so talking to businesses, downtown, especially in that area, a lot of them did not want to go on camera because they are exhausted from this problem and exhausted from, the press showing this. And I don't blame them. It's hard to see on the news your neighborhood look the way it is to thousands of people across Oregon and Southwest Washington. And what a lot of businesses are telling me is, yes, there's these issues, but we want people to come back downtown. We want people to start bringing foot traffic into the area because it's powered by numbers. If there are a lot of people down there shopping, dining, if businesses try to take the chance and open up storefronts, just having more people down there helps kind of push all of that drug dealing and drug use that we're seeing in public at noon, middle of the day, kind of to the sides and away from the public.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that frustration or seen a lot of that frustration being, voiced, and you see businesses leaving downtown. I mean, there's quite a few. They may say various reasons, but it seems like that's certainly one of them, is this, I don't want to say lawlessness, but I don't know, whatever it is that downtown is, that's the reason a lot of these businesses are going. This open air drug use and all that stuff and the crime that goes with it. Any future developments that you think that might be down the line? You mentioned the demolishing thing, which they're not answering, which that would be a big project in itself, because then what do you put in place of that if you demolish that building? Any other things that you've gleaned that could be happening?
Well, I think the mayor's statement can kind of shed light into what's going to happen next with him saying, I look forward to the future sale or demolition. I don't know the exact sequence of how he worded it, but him saying that, kind of gives at least me an idea that something's going to happen to this building, and the city and the mayor seems like they're very dedicated on, fixing this problem, because Southwest 5th and Washington, the Washington Center, that's in a prime location in the heart of downtown. And from the city's perspective, most people would think that they would want this problem to be solved in the heart of the city. So something will probably happen here soon. Don't know when, exactly what. Maybe, hopefully, we can get an answer from Ministry Properties, but something will happen. You would think a developer or someone would want, because like you said, that is prime downtown property, the location right there, that something could happen. Well, Connor, thank you very much for staying up to date on this and informing everyone about what's happening, and even just asking these questions that may help get some resolution or at least some action that happens if the attention is put on there, and that's because of your hard work. So really appreciate it, and thanks for taking some time to talk to us here today too. Awesome, thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. Connor. That's Connor McCarthy again right there. So you can check out all of his reporting at kptv.com and take a look at all the updates that he has going on there. So everybody here is always out in the field looking up, trying to find information. If you have things that you think should be investigated, you can always email in as well. So you can send something to fox12news@kptv.com, or even if there's news stories you're watching and you want to find out more information, you're like, I want to know more about that. There's always the opportunity here to have the reporters who are out there doing the hard work join us, just like Connor did, and find out some more information and really get down to some things that maybe they haven't been able to share before. So here's what's coming up. We have more for you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hop off air, but we're going to come back at 1:30 with an interview with somebody that I'm pretty sure you know, and that is CJ McCollum. Yes, the former Trailblazer is going to join us here for Fox 12 now. The secret is I already recorded the interview, but we're going to play it live at 1:30, so make sure that you join us for that and everything else that we have coming up here. I'll hop off right now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.